My name's Justin, and I got a boy named Mason. He's going to be 3 this year in another month. And I built a really nice play set out back for him last year. I decided I'm going to add a ball pit to it. But there's no real good videos online that I've found for him, so I figured I'll make my own video and just DIY, do it yourself. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so the plan is to make it 4x8 at the bottom of one of the slides. So I got on Amazon, I got this gymnastics mat, it folds up like this, it goes 2 inches thick, 4x8. I'm going to lay it down in a carport here, and then I got 1-inch PVC pipe. I'm going to cut it to length, just kind of build a frame, and then I have baseball netting that I'm going to put up on the sides to hold all the balls in. So let's get started. So on my plans, I'm going to have a brace come up here, here, every 2 feet of brace. It's a little bit wider, about 1/4 of an inch, which I'm fine with. This piece here ended up being 45.5. It's a little bit less than 4 feet wide, which is fine. These won't be here. This is just for reference for the corner, but that's nice and tight, so I'm going to cut 4 more at 45.5. Alright, the framework's done. These are actually going to be corners with an elbow up, but I don't have those fittings yet. So, why? This I actually have a brace going across here. These were 22 3/8, 21 3/4 here, 21 3/4, 22 3/8. So now we're going to come up, going to put another brace across on the sides, and then we'll just keep going up from there. Alright, I got all the bottom pieces. All these pieces here. There's 4 over here, 4 over here, 1 here, are 10 inches long. That way the ball should be 15 to 18 inches deep. This small of a section should be pretty decent with the netting to hold the balls. That's what I'm hoping. I forgot I had to cut these in half. So these pieces here on the end, which will be the same down there, are going to be 22 1/16 inch long, since I have to make adjustments for the centerpiece. These are 10 inches, 22 1/16. Now I'm going to cut the top pieces the same as the bottom ones, 22 3/8, 21 3/4. Build all that and just keep working my way up. Use the cutter, just come in, put it right on my line there. And just cut it. This is how far we got. The slide's going to come down through this hole. I'm going to put it around a slide. So this will be at the bottom of the slide, and on the ground the slide's going to come through. These are 10 and 10, so they're the same length. Then we're going to go up 29 more inches. That'll put the sides at 4.5 feet. 4.5 feet is good because that'll give me 3 inches on top and bottom to wrap the netting around the top of the PVC, and then on the bottom. And then on that end, I'm going to have a step to step out. So I got to go get my step, put it in here and measure it so I can have the notch so that the kids can actually step out of it. But this is how far we've got. I'm only in it a couple hours so far, but here's the steps that I got for inside of it for the kids to get out. It's actually made for pets, and it's 15 inches wide, 18 inches high, and like 21 long on the bottom. Some people said it held up to like 65 pounds real easy. I'm like, that's more than enough to get the kids out. That way if they hit it, it's just nice and soft foam. But that's going to go down here on the far end like this. so that they can climb up and get out. We got the wall laid out, so now I'm gonna start gluing it together one piece at a time. Make sure as soon as you put the primer and the glue on each piece and stick them together, use a mallet to tap them so that the piping seats fully into the actual union. Alright, so I got a problem. This is 49. I'm about a 1/4 inch off right here, 3/8. So that can come in a little bit. But this one's flush. I didn't glue it yet. And I'm 48, so I got a whole inch. I glued this one together and I didn't get it all the way up in. So I'm gonna have to shorten this pipe here because it's not glued in yet. So I can shorten this one and hopefully that'll allow it to come over, because as you can see, this, it's got a bow in it if I push it down. So not a big deal. I just didn't get this one glued in all the way, but I can just trim the end of this and hopefully it should fit nice and square. Perfect. Apparently I can't cut or measure or something, but we're good now. I already checked out when that one's gonna be 47.5. That's 47.5, this is 47.5. So we're nice and square. Set this one aside, bring the other one out, start getting it ready. That's gonna be the exit where you step out. These fittings were supposed to be turned this way so the T come up. I was in a hurry, glued them this way. So rather than cutting this up and have to remake it, I just added a piece on each end. I'm gonna put an elbow in to go to these pieces. So it's only gonna make it a little bit wider around the slide, which isn't a big deal, gives you a little more hand room when you come down the slide. But just slow down so you don't make mistakes like me. You gotta make sure these stay square to each other. So I normally try to take one that just goes one way, put the two pieces in it, and then the elbow, when I put it on, I make sure that these are both flat on the concrete. So when they're nice and flat, I know it's nice and square. So that this is actually 90 degrees, because if you just held it, you could have this twisted this way and it would affect it, and then you'd have to recut a whole piece. So, same with this one. I'll make sure that these are nice and square on the ground, so it's not caught like this or like this. It'll be nice and square. Alright, I got the walls built. So you can add the long wall, the short wall. I already did these three. I'm going to do this one. And I got these two over here to put together. Alright, I got the other two walls. The biggest thing is to make sure that everything's facing the right way, because you could put it on backwards. I got a brace on the bottom right here. It's going to come across. I have to make sure I got the wall facing the right way. It looks like it's right. So I'll glue this one together. You gotta go really quick. This stuff sets up really fast. Alright, 2 walls down. 4 actually, 2 halves. Alright, now I'm gonna put these together, but I'm not gonna glue this part. Got this last piece to put in. I wanted to make sure it's the right length before I put it in. Seems to fit pretty good. It's high here because I put that brace in there, but that ain't gonna hurt anything. Alright, I figured it's gonna be too big to just leave out there all the time. Yeah, I want to be able to move it around, so I decided rather than gluing the whole thing together, I'm going to try to pin two halves. I glued a short side and a long side, then the opposite short side and long side. So now I bought these pins, and my plan is, I pounded it together there, I'm going to drill a hole through the connector and the tube and be able to put these through, go over it, should hold it nice and tight, keep it together. Pin won't fall out because of this, so that should make it able to take apart when I want to take apart. And then my plan is when I put the fence on, or the netting, I'm going to do a short side and a long side in one piece, and I'll keep it the same as the whole piece that I have glued together. That way when I take it apart, it won't affect it at all, and the netting will just go with each piece. Just like that. Now we'll do 4 on each side, that corner, this corner, and then I'll do the middle piece too. That way I can remove that if I want to take it in and out, or just if I want to take it out completely. We'll see once the kids play in it. There it is. Alright, we got the frame done. Now I got the netting that I'm going to put up on the outside of it. It's a baseball netting, got it on Amazon. This is 10 by 15. So I'm going to cut it so it's 5 by 15. I'm going to cut it down the middle. That way I can wrap it around the top and around on the edges. So I'm going to get it laid out here and cut it in half.
When you cut the netting, make sure you cut it right in the middle of the 1-inch square. That way you're able to heat and melt each end so that it doesn't fray and come apart. If you cut it too close, it could unravel the whole net.
Okay, I got it all cut in half. So now we're going to start wrapping it on the pipe, see how it works. Alright, I think it's going to be easier to flip it on its side. So I'm going to flip it on its side and then start the net.
The 4 corners of the net had long strings on them, so I used those as the first anchor point to the frame of the ball pit itself.
Alright, so instead of using zip ties, I can spin and possibly catch the kids or whatever, so I don't have to put noodles over everything. I'm going to try to use paracord. Wrap it around through the netting, pull it real tight, and see what happens. If it doesn't work, then I'll be using zip ties.
I would drill a hole in the piping, tie the paracord through that hole nice and tight, and then that would be my anchor point for when I wrapped around the piping through the net real nice and tight. On the bottom and on the top and on the corners and anywhere where there was an opening where the slide came down or where you exited, I would wrap the paracord through every 1-inch hole on the netting to keep it as nice and tight as possible. The middle framework that's just there for the support, I was doing every other hole through the middle sections.
Okay, I've burnt my hand numerous times. This is a royal pain in the butt, but it'll be worth it. I'm down to the last wall. Should be pretty simple. There's no trimming any of the net. Just lay it on, tie it down.
When you wrap the paracord through the net, make sure you go through the same line of holes all the way down and all the way up all the PVC pipe. That way it stays nice and square, and then you're able to actually pull it nice and tight, so there's a little bit of tension in those sections in between all the PVC pipe.
Alright, I got the hole drilled. I'm going to tie this rope off, then bring it up around the top, and then start tying this one down.
This is one of the two corners that is pinned together. The long side slides into the short side, so I'm only tying the netting on the short side because that's going to stay there permanently, and as you can see, the net is loose on the long side. After I get it done, I'll run one piece of paracord down there to tie the long side netting up against there, and then when I want to take it apart, I'll just undo that one paracord strand and pull the pins and pound it apart. Make it nice and easy to get apart.
As you can see, I added this piece here in the netting because this was level with here, and as I'd run up the steps, the balls would roll out. Now that I've propped it up and leveled it, probably wouldn't be as bad, but I still brought it up pretty high. So when you put this in, it's level with the pipe. Now you got a long step to get out. So I made this. What I did was I cut cardboard the same square to match the bottom of this, and I just kept taping them together and taping them together. Made a nice heavy duty base, something that won't hurt the kids if they do hit it. It's just cardboard and duct tape. Then when you add the mat, obviously it's going to be a little bit higher, but now I'm going to build some steps out here, or a ramp, I'm not sure yet, so that they can just run down out and go around and go back in. I think next time, rather than leaving it lower, just make it a T across. Probably be perfectly fine. Alright, we'll show you how quick it is to pick these up. These are laundry bags. They're 36 by, I think, 45, and they literally fit 500 of these 3-inch balls in them. It's perfect. I just clamp it to the top of the post, then use a bucket or a laundry basket to scoop them and dump them in here. It doesn't take that long at all. I'll show you. Just take the bag. $801.
The laundry bags are perforated and have holes in them, so that allows the air around to get into the bag, and if there's any moisture in there, it'll dry it up. If you're putting them in a garbage bag, the moisture could stay in there and possibly create some sort of mold issue. So these bags work perfect for it. Even if they're a little bit damp, I can still put them in there and they're going to dry properly. I normally pick them up every night But occasionally, if it was a beautiful Saturday and it's supposed to be a nice Saturday night into Sunday, I would leave them out overnight. But it's pretty rare that that happens.
"11 to 12 minutes, pick up 2,000 balls. And the mat. Not too bad. The bucket works better than the basket."
At the end of the season, I would pull my pins and unravel the paracord on the two opposite corners, take a mallet, pound the framework apart in the cross member on the bottom, and then I can literally flip the one over upside down and stack it right in with the other one and put them right in the carport, just as you see in this picture here. So it literally only takes up about 4 inches of space in a corner. Worked out perfect. The balls that we got were a commercial grade, 3 inches around, and held 250 pounds per ball. So they're a little bit heavier duty. I expect them to last a lot longer, and we have not been disappointed. They are amazing, and I can actually go in it too, and I don't crush them. So when we ordered them, the company actually called and was like, "Do you really want 2,000 balls?" And I told them the dimensions that I had and how deep I wanted it, and they were like, "Okay, we just wanted to make sure." So, but they came in 600 in a box. So we had a whole pile of boxes that showed up in the carport. But they are definitely worth it. This is the final outcome. I got a 4x8 sheet of particle board that is leveled with some bricks underneath it because my yard's at a little bit of a slant. And then I used some spare wood I had laying around to build a ramp up to it. So as the kids go down into it, they can just slide in, climb up the stairs, down the ramp, and go around and jump back in. Well, this is my homemade DIY ball pit that my kids and the neighbor kids and the cousins and everybody absolutely loves coming over and playing in them. So if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments down below, and I'll try to answer anything that I haven't answered in this video already. It's pretty extensive and it took quite a while to do, but it's definitely worth it. They absolutely love it.